Let's have no more government overreactions to COVID. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The surge of the latest COVID-19 variant has set off ominous noises for another round of mandatory indoor mask wearing, focused lockdowns, and school closures next fall. These should be fiercely resisted. Science is not at work here, but unnecessary and harmful nostrums that are proven failures. China's latest ghastly zero COVID-19 campaign demonstrates the futility and harmful price of this approach. The evidence is overwhelming that lockdowns at best delay the spread of this kind of disease. It does not prevent it. Meanwhile, China's economy is tanking, and supply chains, which haven't yet recovered from previous lockdowns, are being disrupted again. Another wave of shortages and higher prices are coming. While China is an extreme case, most countries imposed sweeping lockdowns in the early months of the pandemic and less severe ones later. Indoor mask mandates were almost universal. Schools were closed. At serious harm to millions of kids, most U.S. public schools were shut long after most other countries reopened theirs. Coercive vaccine policies were widely pursued. Turns out, most of these responses were not needed. The World Health Organization has released a report rather soberly entitled Global Excess Deaths Associated with COVID-19, January 2020 to December 2021, a comprehensive view of global deaths directly and indirectly associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. The work focuses on what is called excess mortality, that is, quote, the difference between the total number of deaths that would have been expected in the absence of the pandemic, i.e. no COVID scenario, end of quote. The stunner here is Sweden. The country has long been vilified for defying the consensus of how governments were expected to respond to the crisis. Sweden shunned sweeping lockdowns. It never imposed indoor mask mandates in public buildings. It always kept schools open. It aspired to keep the economy operating as normally as possible. The nation's only blunder occurred at the beginning of the pandemic when, like New York, New Jersey, and some other areas here, it put infected patients in nursing homes. You would expect that given Sweden's defiance of what public health experts and compliant politicians everywhere else were prescribing in the name of science, the country would have had a serious level excess mortality. Turns out to be the opposite. In a comparison of 30 European countries, Sweden ranked 25th. In other words, only 5 countries did better. 24 other countries, including those like Germany with harsh anti-pandemic policies, experienced higher rates of excess mortality. Noted observer Ian Miller sums it up well in a piece from the Brownstone Institute, quote, Sweden limited the negative impacts of COVID while avoiding higher numbers of deaths from other lockdown-derived consequences, end of quote. Will mandate and mask-happy U.S. officials finally face reality the way Sweden has done? We can only wish. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions. I look forward to being with you soon again.